I am out for a hike run, yeah, Lake Georgetown, Cedar Breaks. It's a beautiful day, even though it's a little cloudy. It's still gorgeous. I just came from getting my hair done, and it was the first time I had been to my hairdresser's at this location, and she's used to having her own private booth, and they moved, and so now it's one common room, and they're much closer. And it's a woman that she's two women, one that she's been best friends with for a very long time, but she was mentioning how she had never been this close with her, and also she's gone through some changes and things like that, some growth, and she's like, I'm starting to see how she is and how she treats people, and she says, I'm getting to where I don't like her, and the energy is really bad, and she's like, but I don't want to leave the studio because I don't want, the other girls to have to pay more. And I said, well, I understand, not wanting to inconvenience the other girls, but it's at what expense? I mean, you're miserable. You hate the people that you work with. You have customers who have said, or clients that have said they don't want to be there if she's there, and you can't work around, she's there, right? So you might be losing clients. I said, but it's your choice. I said, at some point, you'll either reconcile or you'll get so uncomfortable that you will move. And when the time is right, you'll do it for you. But it was a very uncomfortable situation. And for a little while, her coworker went to go get some supplies. She was gone for about an hour. Her demeanor and everything changed. She was back to her happy, chatty self, smiling and stuff like that. As soon as that woman walked back into the door, she stopped talking. She started to be really snippy, and it was uncomfortable for me because I felt the tension, and it's like, this is my self-care time, and I told her, I said, I felt the energy change right away, and I need to know what her schedule is. And she goes, why? And I said, because I don't want to be here when she's here, because this is a negative energy, and that's the truth. Or I will have to find another stylist, because if I'm going somewhere that's supposed to make me feel good, but I feel bad, then it defeats the purpose. And so, to me, having that peace and having that rejuvenation is more important than going to a colorist that I've been going to for the last 8 years. I happen to know that there are quite a few very talented colorists in my dance group, so I am not worried about finding someone who can do great things with my hair. But I did notice the difference. In myself, I think I was thinking about it when there were times when I was left in the chair by myself, and I was thinking, there was a time that I would have gotten involved, I would have given advice, or I would have kept quiet and not said anything at all, and I would have gotten irritated. Instead, I listened to the conversations that were going on around me. I appreciated the fact that I had grown past that. I also saw that there was an opportunity for growth around me, and thought about how can I make a positive impact here. You know, what would be best serve, the people in front of me, and I tried to keep it light. I didn't take sides. I listened. I told her how I understood how she felt, and just asked her if she had talked to her friend and told her exactly how she felt and the decisions that she might make. And, I just asked questions, or how is your work life affecting your home life? Um, she she has been having some health issues as well, and hormone problems. And you know she I asked her, I said how her health was, and she brought up how her hormones weren't working the way that they did when she first started taking them, and she was depressed because she had gained weight. And so I started in my mind to understand that there's so many things that are going on here. It's not just, it's hormones. We don't know exactly. Our hormones were so sensitive. So many things cause us to release different hormones, and having a hormone imbalance can really mess up our daily lives, our personalities, and our tolerance, depending on what hormone is high or low. And so she may be a little bit extra sensitive, or seeing things, differently. The other girl is in a bad, she's telling me this, that the other girl's in a really bad marriage, and her father just died, and they're having some family drama over the insurance. And so as she's telling me this, I'm like, this girl is going through a whole bunch of things on her own and dealing with them. And, the only way she knows how at the time. And, my hairdresser was like, yeah, but I've been there for her. I've been there, supported her. I drove her to her father's funeral all the way to Alabama when her husband refused to go and stuff. And I said, it sounds like y'all were really close. She goes, I considered her my little sister. And I said, well, sometimes when we don't have very many people that love us or allow us to be ourselves, we keep it all pent up, and then we kind of sometimes just shit all over the people who love us most. And we think it's like, how can you be so inconsiderate after how much I loved you? How can you treat me so bad? And sometimes it's just, you're the person that I feel the safest with. And so I know, even if I just come completely unglued and say something that hurts you, you're still going to love me, and I feel safe. But we don't say that out loud, or we think it's understood, or maybe we don't even know it ourselves. And maybe we're not very aware of what we're doing, we're just reacting. And so instead of just listening to one side, I tried to kind of literally put myself, just from the information that I was getting, in both of their situations. And I felt a lot of empathy. And, it wasn't the appropriate time to really give any more input or anything. I tried to prolong the conversation because, I'm at an appointment. Her next appointment was there. But I am going to reach out to her, because I have been going to her for a long time, and I can really see the stress in her. And so, but what I noticed is that I was just very grateful for my journey and the things that I have gone through to get me to a place to where I have gratitude for all of the trauma and things that I've gone through, because it helps me understand where other people might be. And I feel like I have a little bit more grace for them and realize they have their own stuff and it's not about me. And so if I can just be positive and spread some positivity where there might be a little shadow, just a little light in somebody's day, you know. And I told her things, you know, I told her how beautiful she looked with her hair and how um, uh, she coordinated very well with her apron. And she's, oh, just, you know, and I'm like, but you can still be beautiful even though it was the only one there. You know, you're rocking it, you know. And just try to add a little bit of positivity. I really intentionally made it a point to look for something positive in someone, especially not only in someone, in the situation, in my surroundings, especially if I am stressed or in an uncomfortable situation. I am finding that looking for those things that make me smile make the difficult situation more bearable and bring my hormone levels down and help me realize that whatever it is that I'm going through is temporary and I will get through it. And what am I learning? Trying to be present in that. And that kind of attitude, doing it's something that I've tried to make a habit. And when you're trying to make something a habit and it's intentional and you're like, you know, you have a list or something like that, or you have to set reminders for yourself. And then you think to yourself, I'm never going to get this, you know, because you mess up or you forget. And then all of a sudden, one day, you realize that you maybe got up without an alarm, or you went through a routine of your meditation and stretching and stuff like that without looking at the clock and seeing how much time you had. You start noticing that these habits you're not thinking about anymore. And it's just all of a sudden, it's like, I'm getting better. I'm improving. I'm growing. And that kind of gets you excited about the next step. And it's like, what's the next thing that I'm going to do and that I can do? Because I thought I wasn't going to be able to do that. And I did, you know. And it's so exciting to be feeling that sense of everything is new. I feel like everything is new. I am excited. It's like I feel like a kid because I don't know what's going to happen. Or what can I learn? What do I get to do? Teach me. Learn about somebody new, you know. When we're little, you know, we don't have any experience, you know, our boundaries keep getting further and further, you know, and then once we get out of that and we get into adults, we think we know where everything is. And it's like, sometimes we get really comfortable within these own boundaries that we've made for ourselves because we thought we were supposed to. Having the mindset of a child and like, what's around that corner? And, ooh, isn't that pretty? Even though it's, you know, just a dry leaf on the ground. Or getting excited because, you know, they get to have their favorite dessert tonight. You know, it's just everything is exciting and makes me smile, and it brings me joy. And I find that I don't know if I would say I don't have any fear. So there is a little bit of fear, but my fear doesn't overwhelm me or keep me from. And I'm finding that those things that I used to be aware of in other people but not recognize habits that I did for myself, I'm starting to recognize those habits that I do myself. You know, it's kind of like the best nutritionists or people. Ask a fat person how to lose weight. I guarantee you they know how, because they've tried every diet, done all the research. They know how to do, you know. A lot of your marriage counselors are divorced. It's like, okay, look, I've made all these mistakes. Do as I say, not as I do. But the thing is we don't have to stop there. We can say, okay, let me start putting into practice. I mean, how much more credit or what's the word I'm looking for? Validation do you need that somebody's methods work if not only are the people that they try to help improved, but they are living their philosophy, they are living their purpose, and they're not just giving it lip service. And it's like, okay, and they're not pretending, you know. And I want to be one of those people. I want to be authentic, and I want to practice what I preach. And I have been so humbled and feel I have actually gone back and apologized to some people about the way that I treated them, because I didn't realize how I was so wrapped up in my emotions and what I was feeling at the time that I had no consideration of how what I was doing or what I would say was affecting them, until I was treated that way. And it's like, I can't believe that I did that to someone that I loved. It was not a very loving thing, you know. So there's just a lot of growth, opportunity for growth. And I'm just yammering, and I have no idea what I'm going to do with this video. But it is it's the fourth video I've made, but I'm going to be making a lot of videos that are going to be all over the place. I have no idea what this channel is going to turn into, but it has multi-purpose. One is it's just getting me, I need to get into the habit of making content and talking and recording, and I need to get better about using my words and communicating. And I want to help people, and I kind of have an idea of where I would like to help people, but I don't want to tie myself down to anyone or say that this is what I'm going to do. I'm just gonna try my hand at a whole bunch of things and see what I'm good at and see where I can be of the most benefit, and then let other people who are good at other areas and have experience and expertise take care of them, learn and meet them, and be able to have somebody that I can refer, you know. And hey puppy.
No, you can't go off that cliff. Cliff is smart,
I love seeing people out on the trail with the pups, and she's talking to her pups. Like, I think they do understand us on some level. But I just wanted to get comfortable being myself in front of the camera, instead of feeling like I have to do a script or, you know, have okay, this is what we're going to do today. I don't know how to do that. I haven't even figured out how to do a thumbnail or an introduction. These are just, psht. I have a name. I love the name, and I have some ideas of where I'd like to be. And as I am learning and discovering, y'all will be learning and discovering with me. And, if you have any words to say of encouragement or suggestions or ideas or areas that you think I might be able to have a positive impact, I would so be welcome. Also, I would like to know, and this is me just being completely transparent and just saying what comes to mind, is I was doing some homework from a life coach. I've got a couple of books from a life coach myself that I really, really like, because I'm doing his homework. And one of his homework assignments was to write down 10 people that you have impacted in a positive way, had a positive impact on in your entire life. And it's like it can be more than 10, but at least 10, and the assignment is to give yourself credit and to be proud of yourself and recognize what your gifts are. Because how can you share your gifts? I have a blue tongue. I just realized. My Jolly Ranchers. How can you share your gifts with someone if you don't know what they are? You have to acknowledge what your gifts are, and as well as where your strengths are and where maybe your weaknesses are, so that you don't, you wouldn't want to take somebody out for a swim, in a boat if they can't swim and you can't swim, right? So I started to think about it. And so if any of you have been impacted in a positive way by any interaction that you and I have had, I would love to hear it. But, I would also love to hear if I have had a negative impact, or if I said or did something that had impacted you in a negative way, because that's never my intention. And so if I did it unknowingly, and I would like to know how I could have adjusted in order not to have had a negative impact. I'm realizing that we don't all communicate the same way. We don't all receive information the same way. And much like trying to get someone who doesn't understand English to understand you by speaking louder and faster or slower and getting more emotional does not change the fact that they still do not understand the words that you're saying. How much better would it be to maybe try to teach them a little bit of your language and you to learn a little bit of their language, so that you can communicate effectively and build connection instead of just getting frustrated because they're not coming to you, So that being said, if I have ever said or done anything that had a negative impact, it was not intentional, and I need to know how. I would really like to know how to communicate effectively and how I could have done better. I love constructive criticism. Please tell me how I can be better. And I'm okay with somebody telling me that I do something well, as long as it's sincere, and without any strings. It's kind of like if some, women may have this more. I guess men would too, you know, if you get a compliment from the opposite sex, it's like, okay, you just want to get in my pants, or you just want me to buy you dinner, or something like that. And it's just really nice when you know somebody is sincere, you know, it's very humbling. But it's also when somebody is telling you something, you've got that confidence and you kind of know that they're not being sincere. I kind of play with it a little bit. I don't know, have fun with it. Anyways, I have the tendency to ramble on, and this has already been 25 minutes, and I will probably be editing it a little bit, but I do have a tagline, and you can thank Rich for inspiring it, but I just want everybody to know that it is an absolutely wonderful life, even if you don't know it yet.